Hey guys, Kevin here with etrailer, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install the B&W Companion OEM fifth wheel hitch with slider base here on our 2021 Ford F-250 Super Duty. If you own a newer Ford truck and you have the Ford towing prep package in it, and you're wanting a fifth wheel hitch that can give you a little bit more turning clearance because you have a shorter bed and just can't make those tight turns like you could if you had an 8-foot bed, then the B&W Companion with slider base is going to be the hitch for you. With this slider base, it has feet designed to drop straight into the puck system that comes with your Ford towing prep package. The handles are super easy to use. Simply just pull them out to unlock your hitch, or once you have your hitch dropped in, just pull them in towards the base and then lock them up with your pin and clip. This makes installation and removal for an empty bed to tow any other items. Maybe you're moving some furniture, maybe you just want to load this up with some other gear and don't want to have that hitch in the way. Just makes it super easy to get it out of here. So depending on the length of your bed, if you have a bed that's going to be under 8 feet, we always recommend either having a fixed hitch with a sidewinder or, in this case, a sliding hitch. And what this sliding hitch does is it provides you with an extra 12 inches of clearance. And that's important because we don't want the nose of our camper coming into contact with the cab of our truck anytime that we're making a tight turn. So to do that, we would have to get out of our truck. We would switch from the locked position to the unlocked position. And then as we start to pull away, our hitch is going to slide back into place and it'll lock in the rearward position. And what this is going to do is give us that extra 12 inches of clearance so that we can make our tight turn and then pull over and unlock and switch back to our towing position. So when it's time to couple up your trailer, what you're going to want to do is pull your pin and clip out, and that's going to release your handle so that you can pull it out. As you can see, it opens those jaws up and we'll lock it into place, and that's going to hold the jaws open so that when our trailer backs up and couples into here, it'll pop it back into place. And then once it's in place and our jaws are aligned along our kingpin, we're going to drop our pin and clip back into our handle and hold it in place. That way we don't have to worry about our jaws uncoupling as we tow. One question we get quite a lot is how much space is going to be between the front of my bed and the hitch, because maybe you have a toolbox, maybe you want to throw some firewood in here, maybe you have a couple of coolers or something like that, and you just need to have the extra room to place them in the bed. So I'll give you a quick measurement right now. So from the actual body of the hitch to the bed, it's going to be roughly 22.5 inches. Now we do have 2 bolts on both sides here that are going to stick out quite a bit extra. So from that, it's going to be 22 inches. So that's what you can expect. Like I said, a lot of the time people typically have a toolbox in the bed of their truck, and they want to make sure that they have enough clearance for that as well as their hitch. So out of the box, your slider base is going to come with these cardboard pieces that are under it and that kind of hold the feet of the base from scratching your truck. So me and another guy, I had throw this up into our truck, especially with this brand new bed. We don't want to cause any scratches. So you want to make sure to leave that on there until you get up to here, and then we're going to pull our pin and clip off. And then we're going to release our handles so that when we drop this down onto our pucks, it's actually going to drop right in. Stick our pin right here for now. So now with your lock handles out, everything ready to go, you and maybe 1 or 2 other beefy dudes can pick up this hitch because it is quite heavy. And we can go ahead and drop it into our pucks. There we go. So if you're at a point where you can't get your handles to actually turn all the way in to lock them in position, then what you're going to have to do is adjust our castle nut. But to get to that, you're going to have to remove these 2 screws. So with our 2 bolts removed, we can go ahead and slide this part off, and then that's going to give us access to our castle nuts. So we're going to have to remove our cotter pin. To do that, we're going to have to kind of fight it here because it's already bent and they don't give you much room to actually bend it back straight. So I'm just going to take my Allen wrench that I used earlier and kind of just press this back down and just work it out as we go. Now with that out, we can start loosening up our castle nut. Just go a couple turns. So, see what gets us in there, and then we can kind of start tightening it down until we get a nice snug fit. And that's a bit too much, so we'll back it off just one more. And slide our cotter pin right back through our hole. Now with our cotter pin back in place, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of bend that back down. And we can go ahead and do this to each of our handles until all of them are nice and snug, but not too snug to where you can't actually open and close them. With all of our handles adjusted, I'm going to go ahead and put our sides back on. So now we have our locking handles in the locked position. We're going to go ahead and stick our pin through and secure that with the clip. And now we can start installing our pivot arms. So there's a few different ways to mount your pivot arms. As you can see, there is more of a straight vertical side and then a slanted side. So depending on which way we put this onto our slider base, it's going to determine whether the hitch head actually sits right over the axle or a little bit closer to the front of our bed. So with ours today, since we have a short bed, obviously since we're using a slider base, I'm going to go ahead and put it so that our more vertical side is facing the back side of our hitch, just so that we have our hitch head faced more out so that we have just a tiny bit more turning clearance. Now as far as the height goes, there are a few different height settings that we can put this to. But what we're going to need to know is exactly how high the distance is from the ground to the kingpin when the trailer is level. That's going to help us determine exactly where our hitch height needs to be so that the trailer rides level as we're towing it. Since I don't know exactly where our hitch height needs to be, because we don't have the measurement from our trailer, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of keep this at a medium range. So what I'll do is I'll take my bolts and my lock washers. I'm just going to start hand tightening these in. Your kit is going to come with 8 of these. You'll need to use 4 on each pivot arm. So now I got those tightened down with my wrench. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with our other pivot arm, making sure that I have it in the same exact position as our other pivot arm. So now that we have all of our bolts tightened down with our wrench, I'm going to go back and torque them down to the correct settings listed in the instruction manual. Alright, so on our hitch head, we're going to go ahead and slide our arm in. We're going to drop down our bolts. And we're going to have 2 locking nuts that we're going to put on there. Just get those hand tight right now. And we can drop our pin and clip right back into place. So what we're going to do now is pull out our pin and clips that actually mount our hitch head to our pivot arms. So we're going to set those clips aside, and we're going to go drop this down on top of the pivot arms. Now we can go ahead and just set our hitch head down on here. And when it pops into place, you'll feel these arms kind of shoot down. Now we have that in place, we can go ahead and slide our pin and clips through again. And that is going to lock our hitch head in place onto our slider base. So there's one more part that we're going to install on our hitch, and what this is going to do is actually just kind of keep it tilted, keep some tension on it. That way it's kind of always facing down so that when you're actually backing up and trying to hook up to your trailer, it'll have that to kind of roll up on and then pull your hitch flat as it finally couples. So I wanted to kind of see exactly where this would fit best Now that I kind of have a good idea, I'm going to pull my head back off and set it down so that we can actually get on our clip that's going to hold our spring here. So I've already pulled the pins. We can go ahead and just lift this right up. So what you're going to want this to do is basically sit to where the spring is kind of just right under the rubber bushing of your pivot arm. So we're going to place our clip to hold it right here. Just tap that on with a hammer. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to have a lock nut and a bolt. We're going to stick our bolt through our spring and then tighten that down. We're just going to get that nice and snug with that sitting up because our head is going to rest against that. And now we can set our head back up on our slider base. So as you can see, now we have a little bit of tension that kind of just forces it back up so that it's sitting angled down. That way it can easily accept that fifth wheel pin box and couple up. Well, I think that about does it for today's installation of the B&W OEM fifth wheel hitch here on our 2021 Ford F-250 Super Duty. My name's Kevin. Thanks for watching.